Oh, the only man in history with a couple of Heismans is being immortalized outside the stadium where he worked his magic. Ohio State set to unveil a statue of the legend Archie Griffin on August 30th to commemorate the 50th anniversary of his first Heisman. Griffin will also dot the I when the Ohio State marching band performs Script Ohio at halftime of its season opener. Archie also one of the truly great human beings on the planet. You get to talk with him. He is just a nice, humble. You would have no idea that he was a world beater for a couple of years in college football and a wonderful representative for not just Ohio State, but for college football as a sport.
I wonder if anyone's dotted the I more than Archie has. Just over the years in the history of the program, it's such an honor. It's got so much prestige.
Yeah, well, there's not
it.
a lot of folks right outside the band that have been allowed to do it. I mean, Archie, I think Jack Nicklaus, John Glenn, and very, very few people. It is an unbelievable honor if you are a Buckeye or even just an Ohio native. Speaking of Ohio Buckeyes, Ohio State Buckeyes, we're going to start our conversation about underclassmen that can make a huge difference in 2024 with a young man who came in as the #1 prospect in the class, not at his position, at any position. Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, and all reports early on from his time in Columbus is that this guy is going to be, and you hate to label anyone like this, but he is going to be the next Jackson Smith and Jigba. He is going to be the next Marvin Harrison. He has all the measurables, and we know he has the play caller and the offensive coaching acumen to get him there.
What I love about his game, and I got to see him in San Antonio for the All-American Bowl. I've been calling that game for a number of years, and his physical, attributes are off the charts. There's no doubt about that, between the size, the speed, but there's a competitive DNA to Jeremiah Smith that shows up in between the white lines. He's not this outsized personality when he's not on the field. He's very composed, in some ways even quiet, but you get him on the field. And especially if somebody else starts talking some smack, Jeremiah Smith lights up and then lights up the opponent as well. So I cannot wait to see him in Big Ten competition.
That's funny because you're talking about, or I was, the physical comparisons with Smith and Jigba and Harrison. That's also exactly how they were personality-wise, both those guys.
Yeah, and even just to see, physically his stature looks a little bit like Marvin Harrison Jr., but then also his movement skills, can remind you a little bit more of JSN. He's got size, but he's also got fluidity to the way he can move. He's got really quiet hands, and so that maturation process that he's already been through at the high school level will show up quickly at the collegiate level.
All right, different physical skill set for a guy at the same position in Zachariah Branch from USC. Now, last year he burst onto the scene as more of a return guy. We absolutely expect that this year his wide receiver role expands. He is dynamic. He is lightning fast. You get a chance to watch him as a Big Ten football fan now, watching USC inside this conference. You're going to see one of the most exciting players in all of college football.
And in talking to Lincoln Riley a couple of weeks ago in Indianapolis for media days, spent some time talking to him about his quarterback, Miller Moss, stylistically, perhaps being a bit different than what they've come accustomed to with Caleb Williams, not necessarily in production, but just in style of play, the rhythm that the passing attack would have. And so that's where the development of Zachariah Branch will be huge, because for him, developing as a wide receiver, being where he needs to be, when he needs to be there, if they can count on him to be where Miller Moss needs him to be, then there's no reason to think the volume of catches, the volume of touches for Zachariah Branch can have him perhaps of All-American acclaim this season, because he is such a playmaker. He is so explosive in open spaces. And Lincoln Riley is accustomed to getting playmakers in the open field. And when Zach Branch is there, man, you're putting 6 on the board.
All right, let's go to the Twin Cities and talk about a Minnesota running back that has shown us glimpses. We know what he can do when he's healthy. The question is, with so much focus, I think, this year on that Minnesota run game from opposing defenses, they're going to say, Darius Taylor, you are not going to beat us. He is going to run up against the kind of stuff that I think Kyle Monungai is going to run up against this year. A lot of 8-man boxes, but he's shown us he can still do it.
And Minnesota's offense has shown they're willing to be stubborn in running the football.
Run it anyway.
They're willing to just turn it around and hand it off over and over again. And if there's growth on the defensive side of the football for the Gophers, then that should still be, put them in a competent situation for how they can move the ball and put points on the board. And Darius Taylor, between the combination of power that he showcases, vision that went beyond his years last season as a freshman, and the way the program will need to be able to count on him, really the main thing he needs to continue to improve on. And I believe his physical maturity will bring about more durability with the way he's able to play the game, because P.J. Fleck will ask a lot of the running back position. He will have an individual get it over and over again, and as long as they show they can handle it, he doesn't mind you getting 25, 30, 35 carries. So Darius Taylor better be in shape, because when he gets the football, he's going to be as impressive as any running back in this conference.
That's been a hallmark of Minnesota, even before P.J. Fleck and Jerry Kill and David Cobb. I mean, running the football 35, 40 times a game. This is just what this program does right now. Their best years, though, are when they can mix the run and the pass, like they did with the year that Tanner Morgan had all those outstanding wide receivers, and Minnesota had one of the best years in program history. Aiden Charles is going to be an interesting player to watch. Very familiar with Jonathan Smith, comes with him from Oregon State. And I think we're going to see a very different kind of Michigan State offense, especially with what Childs can provide in a couple of different fashions at the quarterback position.
I'll be really intrigued by how they go about navigating that as well, because I know Jonathan Smith and his OC, Brian Lindgren, are very excited about what Aiden Charles brings to the table, but they don't necessarily have a wealth of playmakers on the outside. There's certainly some, but in the end, how much do you put not only on the quarterback, but on the passing attack in general? What I love, though, is that Aiden Charles is very comfortable. He's very confident in his skills, and if things are going well, he handles it at a high level. If things aren't going that well, he seems to have showcased the fortitude to be able to work through and work beyond that, not get, sort of too disjointed or disappointed with what's going on. And it's a program that in year one under Jonathan Smith, with a lot of players who don't know him, haven't been through anything difficult with the new head coach yet, to have a player like Aiden Charles at quarterback that can step forward as a leader to sort of showcase that trust in the head coach will be key for Michigan State. He is more than capable of doing that. And oh, by the way, he is so talented as a passer. I'm really excited. I'm going to get to call 2 of his games early in the season, both week 2 and week 3.
I know you're going to be really disappointed because we're out of town. We can't talk about the last guy that was on your list.
Are you kidding me?
No, I know. And I know you love...
Seriously?
I know you love the guys.
No, we have to have time. We have to have time to talk about the Iowa punter, because if there are any shoes bigger to fill in this conference, they belong to the punter position in Iowa City.
Hijacked the show.
Tory Taylor, I told you last season, the Iowa punter Tory Taylor should have been in a Heisman Trophy conversation. I sat right here at this desk and said, a different studio, but it's the same desk. Now, Reese Dakin gets an opportunity to step into those magnificent shoes of the Iowa punter from the same region of the globe in Melbourne, Australia, and he has got even a bigger leg than Tory Taylor. We will see if the accuracy is there, but everything I'm hearing out of Iowa City is that the way Reese Dakin handles himself is extremely impressive. The way he would be put at times in difficult positions. They have no concerns for what the punter will bring to the table. Melbourne has been the proving ground for punters in college football and punters in Iowa City. They've got another special one on the way.
I'm going to apologize to our producer, Pavlos, on Anthony's behalf. We probably just lost some advertising dollars. If it comes out of his paycheck, you're writing him the big
punters.
number.
Punting is winning.
A few of the guys we just discussed. You can go ahead and roll the break video while Anthony's still talking.